Alright, welcome to Game Dev Tycoon. I'm actually going to be restarting the series that I was beginning on originally. This one will actually have audio attached to it as well, because since I now have the headset, I will just start from the beginning and kind of go through again. So this will be just the new video series of this particular playthrough. On this one, I'm going to go ahead and skip the tutorial. It just goes over some basic things of the game itself. Went through that plenty of times already. The goal of the game itself is basically, it's kind of like most of your tycoon games where you're trying to, over time, build different things and then become a lot better. They've had a lot of the things like, Railroad Tycoon and some of the theme park type games and things of that sort. So it's a kind of genre that's good for some people depending on your particular interest in video games itself. And so we will probably just go with the same name as the channel itself, and we'll just pick some random picture there. And these are some previous games that I had, which we will probably just go ahead and save over the previous playthrough on the previous videos. So at the start of the game, what we're going to have to do is pick a different game. So what we'll probably do is look over the topics first. Like in this case, there are hunting games, spy type games, pirate and music. We're just going to try something maybe a little bit newer, so we'll try to go with spy. We can maybe make this a strategy. Doesn't sound like it would go with it very well. Simulation, maybe. RPG, probably action. And we'll go with James Spy versus Spy. And we'll go with we'll probably go with PC because the development cost is $5,000 as compared to $20,000. So generally, a lot of times it's a lot more easier to get games developed on it since you only start with $70,000. It's usually a good one to build into. We'll go with the two-dimensional graphics in hopes of selling a little bit more. At this point, so basically, you usually won't see this on your first playthrough on things, but there are going to be some plus signs on the bottom and sometimes minus signs. As you play through, you're going to get more of those showing depending on the type of games that you're playing with. Like in this particular one, story and quest may not be as not as important as say like the actual gameplay or the engine of the game. So we'll go ahead and get engine all the way up, gameplay, and story quest. From here, the character in this particular one is going to gradually develop this particular game. So we'll go ahead and get AI up, level design up, and dialogue is apparently not too important with it either. And we will go ahead and let him start to develop that particular game. So graphics up, sound about halfway, and world design down. Usually at the end you want to make sure that it does get rid of most of the bugs on there. Usually if you have bugs that can cause the game not to turn out quite as good, and then usually it makes you get less fans and stuff in the end. So we're going to finish this one. And since it was a new topic and a new combo that was not previously used in this particular game, then we get additional bonuses to it as well. So we'll go ahead and release this game. And then usually this is when the different game reviews will come in, determining if the way you developed the game was good, and whether or not it'll probably do good on sales itself. So on this, it's an average of about 7. And then from here, they will go ahead and release that game. And this is where you're going to get most of your money back that you've spent towards actually developing in the game. And so like in this case, we're number 19th on the charts for different games that currently came out. We may turn this down just a little bit. So the top right here is going to be how much sales we're getting and how much money we're making out of it. So in this case, we got about 18,000 units thus far. This will show how much we're making and how many fans we're getting, as well as like the monthly upkeep depending on what expenses. That's usually like how many employees they have and what that costs. So we started out at about 70,000. We're already a little over double that. We're at 144 fans, so kind of gradually getting there. At this point, we're going to generate a game report. What this is useful for is making sure that you can kind of find out maybe my game didn't do quite as good as it could have, and this will tell you kind of some things that could have done better or might be more useful in the future. Like in this case, spy and action is a great combination. Story quests seem to be not important for this type of game, and level design seems to be quite important for this game. And these will be little hints that they'll drop in the future on the bottom whenever you try to make another game that's similar to this one. So what we'll probably do here is do some research. So we can't quite do the custom game engine, which would probably be good, but we'll get... Yeah, let's try a dungeon one. Alright, and we will develop a new game. Let's try to go with the dungeon one. I haven't did that one yet, so we'll see how that goes. We'll call this... let's go with RPG. And we'll stick with PC again. As I mentioned, though the market share isn't quite as high, generally it's going to run you 15,000 less per game that you make on it. So we'll do two-dimensional graphics again. Now with our action spy game, it was a little bit different. In the RPG type genre, the stories and quests are going to be a little bit more important. The gameplay still about halfway, whereas the engine's not quite as important. You're going to want a lot more story and quest involved with this. And then from here, it's going to go through and start developing the game again. This will be another one where dialogue is important. We'll knock down level design just a bit, and then AI all the way down. And as it goes through, it's going to kind of make references to like old school video games. Like in this case, Ninvento. basically a reference to Nintendo, and Dinky King, which is of course Donkey Kong. And so it just kind of references like different things over the course of the gaming industry, from the beginning of like the PC up until like the new Xbox and PS4. So again, this is world design's kind of more important for because it's going to be mostly in dungeons. Graphics are going to be fairly important, whereas sound, not as big of a deal. And we'll go ahead and put that through. So we'll let them work out the bugs a little bit there. And we'll just go and complete it. Alright, so went through, and we're going to go ahead and try to release this game now. We will get our game reviews once again, and we'll see how good our Dungeons and Dragons did. So we're looking at 8s and 9s, which this should be good because it's going to probably give us a lot more money. Hopefully it'll rank 1, 2, or 3, maybe a little bit less. Well, 13. We should still be making a good bit of money out of the deal. So we'll go ahead and generate our game report in the process. That way we can make sure to get that done so we can prepare for the next game. And this one is going to tell us basically the level design seems to be quite important. So like in the case of any future games that deal with dungeons and RPGs, that'll be an important one to probably make sure that you have pretty high. And so we will go ahead and just start developing another one. This one's still on the market, but it'll be off by the time we complete this one. Let's do a pirate one. Let's call this one Yar Pirates. We're going to make this an adventure game. So again, PC, two-dimensional graphics, and so in this one, story and quests seem to be much more important. We'll do a little bit for engines. Not very important, but may as well increase it a little bit. So again, dialogue is apparently pretty high in this one. So we'll go ahead and drop level design quite a bit. World design will be high. Graphics, we'll leave it about there. Okay, so we're going to let them complete, getting rid of the bugs there. And let's finish that. then we get our reviews. This would be kind of a mid-range, probably 7s and 8s mostly. So we average out at about 7.25, which isn't too bad. And then from here we'll generate a game report to kind of get an idea of what we could have done better. And then different contract work. Contract work is going to be really good for trying to get in like more fans and making money. Actually, more so, contract work is more so just making money. You can also do some other stuff a little bit later, which helps you get more fans, which I will show you that in a little while. And here's our game report. It didn't really tell us anything that would be useful. However, it did give us enough research in order to get our custom game engine. These are usually really good because, though they do usually cost a little bit more, they tend to make your game a little bit better in the end. So we'll go ahead and let that finish. Then from here, yeah, since our games are doing pretty well, we really don't need contract work quite. But pretty soon, though, we can start working for other companies, which usually give us a little bit better of a fan base, which is much more better in the long term. Because if you have more fans, they tend to buy your game once you start releasing it more so on your own, like we're kind of doing now. Let's go ahead and we probably don't want to do another pirate one because usually if you do a very similar game to the one before the current one, oftentimes it can cause some issues. But actually, let's go ahead and get our custom game engine. So we're going to want to get these things added. So already it's going to increase our price just a bit. And at this point, he's going to go through and start adding all the different things that you wanted to incorporate into this engine. Which, as you go further into the game and you start adding quite a bit more stuff to it, oftentimes that can make these engines have quite a bit more research you need to do, up in the several hundreds. Sometimes it can take 600 or 700, but a lot of times if you have a team doing it, it can usually still be completed moderately fast. And let's go ahead and try to get another topic as well. Let's try alternate history. Alright, so we do have alternate history now. And we're going to try to make some sort of game with that. So, alternate history, let's make this one an action game. Space Nazis. These particular Nazis went to space and you're trying to take them all out. So let's try something a little bit cheesy like that. So now, there are new gaming systems out, like in this case the TES, which is supposed to be basically a reference to the NES. If we were to try to get a license on it, it's going to run us $80,000. So we could probably go ahead and do this. Though it's going to be a little bit pricey. We got about $200,000 sitting around. And then we're going to use our new game engine of Alpha. We're going to go to the version 2 graphics, which is going to make it a little bit better as far as graphics go, which usually just make it where most of the time you'll get better ratings. Because generally, if you don't improve your games, like let's say if you went with a text-based game over and over, it's going to gradually get to be where you're making less money back after each game. So you constantly want to make them become better as you play through. So we're going to bring up the game engine a bit, linear story, save games, and we'll get rid of stories and quest. Alright, so we'll get rid of dialogue, bring up AI a bit, and we'll bring up that level design a bit. Alright, so world design apparently isn't very important, so we'll knock that down a bit. Graphics we'll bring up. Sound we will go up just a bit. As you can see, our design and our technology has went up quite a bit. Though he's going to have to clear out some bugs. Hopefully he'll get a few more points in the other two before then. Alright, so we'll go and complete that. Ideally, since we have the new game engine on it, a little bit higher as far as the design and yeah. So we leveled up on several things as well, which also means that whenever we make games, these will probably also go up a bit as well. So let's see how this will do. And that gave us a few more things to research, which we'll probably want to do as well. So let's try to get mono sound. We're going to research this while they're doing their reviews and selling the game. So, not too much better than the other ones. It's going to be about a 7.75, which still isn't too bad. Currently we're in debt though, but once the game starts to sell a bit, we should be making a lot of that back. Yep, so we're back in the green again. And we also get a target audience. And let's generate a game report on that. Because again, this usually gives us a little bit more research that we can use towards getting other things, but as well as figuring out what could have been improved a bit. Alright, so let's see. There's nothing else we could research other than a new topic, so we'll probably not do that yet. And let's develop a new game. Actually, let's see what else we got. Yeah, we'll go ahead and just develop a new game. Let's go back to Pirates, since the last one has already went through. Let's go with the Adventure. And let's go back to the PC. The market share is a little bit lower again, but we'll go ahead and we'll just call this one Pirates. And we'll go with the Elf engine and version 2 graphics. And we'll see if we can do a little bit better than our previous one. We'll get rid of both of those and bring that up. And then dialogue will go back up. And we'll knock down both of those. And as I've mentioned, since we leveled up, it seems like they're able to get a little bit more points in our design and technology. So generally, as you level your person up a bit, he's going to get a little bit better at actually making games themselves. And so now we have our Master V system, which is again a reference to the much older Sega system that they had, the Master System. And then let's clear out the bugs and maybe another point or two, which, there we go. So we won't do quite as good in technology on this side, but we did get a design a bit. And let's go ahead and get this through. And let's release that game. And let's go ahead and get a report in. So it looks about 8-ish. And it'll bet about 8.25, so they're improving a little bit. Nothing too major, but it did improve a little bit. And then, let's see here. So no more new insights on that. Let's get some more stuff here. Now, unfortunately, a lot of these things that we add will not actually go into... We won't be able to use it into our new games until we make a new custom new engine. So right now, basically, we're researching things in order to get more stuff, so that way when we create our new engine, it should allow us to actually incorporate a few more things into it, which will be good. Now we have target audience. And let's get a new topic. Let's go with horror. Alright, so... Now, since we did actually get the target audience, that one does not actually go into the engine itself, but rather it basically allows you to label your game. In most cases, it's usually better to go with everyone, because generally it gets a lot more people into buying your particular game. Whereas if you do, like say, mature, it's going to reduce the overall amount of people that are going to be able to buy into it, that particular game. We'll call this one Friday. And make it a horror. So we could probably go with either simulation or action. So let's try... Yeah, let's just try action. As you run away from the crazy person within the horror game itself. Then let's go ahead and put that on the NES again. And with our alpha engine and two-dimensional graphics. So the engine's important on this one. Bring that up a bit and drop that. And we made about $245,000 off the last Pirates game we did. Let's bring up the AI a bit. Level design, and apparently, you know, most horror movies, if you're watching it for the dialogue, then usually you're watching it for the wrong reason. And we'll go ahead and see this. Bring the sound up a bit, graphics up a bit, and world design's not very important. let them clear the bugs out. And so since we leveled up the 2D graphics, hopefully this should allow us to research the version 3. And I think once we get the version 3, we may want to make our new game engine. So apparently horror may not have been quite as good, but hopefully it should at least pay off what we spent on making it. And it also allows you to kind of level up your character a little bit, and hopefully the future games will be a little bit better. But right now we're sitting on 232,000, so it's not too bad. Alright, and we will generate another report. And now we have casual games. So, horror and action seem to be a great combination. AI seems to be very important for this type of game. Alright, so research. Let's get some casual games involved here. Alright, so let's get another game here. Let's try a hunting game. And we'll do a casual game on this one. We'll call this one Deer Hunter. And usually with like the Game Boy, in this case it's called the Game Link, but a lot of times that's usually good for a lot of your more casual games, which is just an easy way to sell a bunch of games as well. So we're going to wait for this one to get completed, and we'll knock up gameplay, engine down, bring up stories and quests just a little bit. Actually, probably don't even need that. So AI is not really important. Dialogue, there's not really much dialogue unless you want to talk to the deers. We'll make sure sound's up a bit. I think graphics would probably be one of the more important things. So we'll go with graphics being up there as well. Alright, so we'll let that go. This is a little bit better than our last one, so we should make at least a decent amount, but still not particularly good. But again, Mostly just leveling up our character a bit here. We'll generate a report. Let's go and develop a new game. Because we're still trying to get the two-dimensional to go up to the version 3. Because I think that'll be much more ideal if we want to... Let's get some new topics, actually. We can also get marketing now. Which, that's going to run us 40, but I think we should get some more topics first. Let's do movies... Not that I particularly want to make one about movies, but we definitely need to get some topic that might be better. And let's try another topic. So let's try comedy. We're going to make that for everyone, of course. We will call it... The Three Bears Quite Unbearable Comedy. Let's go with an adventure. Unfortunately, our big systems that we could run with now. In fact, let's maybe switch it to casual. Let's make it a casual game. Go with the alpha system another time. And two-dimensional graphics again. We'll see how the Quite Unbearable bear game does. Well, I'll just keep level design up again. Okay, and let's have those bugs get cleared out. And we're going to release that. Unfortunately, you're going to release a lot of not very good games every so often. Sometimes you'll have one that hits pretty big. At least we got our two-dimensional graphics. We also got the 3D at this point. So I may just go ahead and try to go for the 3D and start working towards improving 3D games. So the Quite Unbearable game, we will see how it does. We will have to say this did moderately well. So some felt it was quite bearable. see if we can get the... Yep, so 3D graphics will run us about 15 research points. And we may just go from here and just try to make all 3D games. Generally, I feel it's a better route to take, though initially a lot of the two-dimensional ones will be better with like the version 3 as compared to the version 1 of 3D. But we'll go ahead and do that. And at this point, I feel we have just about enough research. We'll actually throw a level editor on there too. We have enough research that if we make a new game engine, we can introduce a lot of that to the new engine. So we'll probably go ahead and get that created as well. We'll call this one the beta 3D version. And we're going to get that created. And we'll let that one get finished. Okay, so we have our new engine now. So hopefully this also means that a lot of our games will probably go up a little better in ratings as well, as long as we develop them to be pretty decent. So let's go ahead and find... Let's go back to Pirates. Usually they sell moderately well. And we'll make another adventure. Call this one the Seven Seas. In fact, let's try an RPG. Because adventure isn't very good, and I kind of want to... Yeah, let's just stick with RPG. And we'll go with the new beta. Though it may not do very well in this particular system, we'll go ahead and just develop it anyway. Would add a level editor to that. Not that a pirate game would probably necessarily need that, but why not? So we're going to increase the world design a bit and keep graphics decently high. We're going to switch the mono to mono sound and go ahead and put that through. let's go ahead and finish that. Alright, well, let's go ahead and release that. So this probably won't do very good because of the system. If it still does pretty well, I'll be a little bit surprised. Yeah, so it's one of our lower rated games. Simply put, we'll probably need a different category for this particular system if we want to continue making stuff for the actual Game Boy. And let's go and generate the report. Let's try to see if we can find... Let's go with the simulation game. Simulation, what could we do a simulation of? Let's try a music simulation. Yeah, that might be hard to do with. Yeah, that's probably the closest. So let's do a music simulation on the Game Boy. And we'll make it for young. Call this just music. The 3D sing-along. Okay, we will increase these two just a bit and knock that all the way down. Not sure what the AI would necessarily be for, but the other three are kind of iffy to begin with too. So we'll go ahead and let that finish up. Increase graphics. And clear those bugs up a bit. Looks good. Alright, we'll generate another report. I think we should probably try to find another decent topic. So we'll go ahead and just buy a bunch of topics until we find one that I think would be good. So we develop a surgery type games. Oh, let's do ninjas. Everyone loves ninjas. So we will go ahead and develop a new game. And we will try out our new ninja. Action. The licensing fee is 50,000, 100,000. We could probably just go back to the PC for a bit. I think it might do a little bit better than there. So we'll do it. Ninja Gated. Go engine up a little bit, gameplay a little bit lower. Looks about good. Probably knock down sound a bit. So with this, we can quote-unquote borrow some research, essentially stealing it, and doesn't specify what for. Well, then transfer 7K. And now we've researched military as far as like types of genres that we can design games on. So basically just some free research. Well, for 7,000, but 7,000 is not that big of a deal, usually. We'll go ahead and finish this game. And we also have open world now. So Ninja Game did okay. People probably got super frustrated as they were playing through and got killed over and over and over and over and over. Good old Ninja Game. Alright, and let's see what research we can do. We could do marketing, which would allow us to basically pay for like magazine articles and such for our games. Basically just gives us a little bit more hype and usual try to draw more people into it. But I think what we're going to need to do is go for another game engine soon. So we'll probably start doing a bunch of these smaller things. So let's try to get this one. And we'll do this one. Now you usually get to the next phase here. We'll usually go when you hit around 1 million in cash. We're getting fairly close now. That'll probably also be when I will end up ending this video as well, but we'll probably add better user experience. Because the idea is always to try to reinvest as much as you can without making yourself go broke. If you can reinvest, then most of the times it's usually pretty good for better games in the future. We'll see if we can get any more research here. Now let's do better dialogue. from there, we'll go ahead and just create another custom engine. So we want to keep our 3D graphics. We're going to want to gradually get those better. Get cutscenes, better user experience, better dialogue, and open world. And obviously you can see this is going to get gradually worse and worse as it goes up, as far as like different cost goes. We'll call this Sentai, and we'll do 3D. Now, last time when we created an engine, it took about 50, and it's already up to 120. So as you can see, as you progress through, it's going to get more lengthy as far as getting something developed. So it'll still take a little bit, but we'll get there. So basically the Super NES is now out, which is a 16-bit system. They call it on here the TES. Oh no, and so it's probably a system that we could probably jump on pretty soon as well, with our new game engine here. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll go back to our age-old pirates again. At this point, let's just call it shovelware. And we'll just go with the PC again, and go with the new 3D engine. Do better user experience and simple cutscenes. Bring up dialogue a bit. And with better dialogue. Do some world design. And no sound. So mono sound, and then open world is added. As you can see, it's gradually getting to be where we're getting much higher designs and technology, because as your character's leveling up, it does improve how well they can also design games. So we're going to finish this. And we'll go ahead and release that. It seems like our shovelware is a must-have. So this one's going to probably do extremely well, and probably also get us far over the million. Because once we release this, usually whenever you hit like a 10, it's going to be the big bestseller, and it's usually going to sell a crazy amount of stuff. See, like in the first month, we made a million off of it, and it's going to continue making tons more afterwards. And so we'll go ahead and go to our new office. The game's going to continue selling even afterward. From here, I'll probably go and finish this little part out, but then I'll probably end the video afterward. But basically, once you get to the new office, you basically can start filling different positions. Once you get your person actually trying to do so, you can have up to 4 in this particular office, and then you have to start managing games just a little bit differently with people doing specific things. They also will contribute to your game itself and make it to where you can make much better games with higher design and technology. So for this particular game, it's probably going to continue selling extremely well. We'll probably let that finish through. I guess while we wait, we can go ahead and do some training, because this opens up your training option. In this case, we're going to have to do staff management if we want to get future employees. Most of these down here are to increase your stats. Like if you want to design, increase your design and technology to make better games, you could do game dev gems, which will kind of gradually increase both of these two. It'll also allow you to increase your research, how quickly do your research, and your speed. So let's go ahead and train staff management. And as you can see, we went from about 400,000 to about 2.9 million, 3 million at this point, fairly quickly. So that's why usually investing in your game itself is going to make you quite a bit of money afterward. Yeah, we have 3 million. Well, that's going to do that anyway. Alright, so at this point we can actually fill positions, but what I'm probably going to do is let our shovelware game end. And as it shows on here, we sold 427,000 units for 3 million in cash. So it was fairly good, all in all. And then from here, what I'm going to do is save it for now. The next video is probably going to go through the next phase, which will basically be through this particular part where you're actually managing your own group, like your own development team. The development team itself will have different things you have to work with in order to make good games on it. So we'll go ahead and end this video here, and I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you. You have a good day.